Episode 23. No next.
Linuka waded through loose soil. Dust covered every surface, including the ceiling. The dried-out mud hole she stood in was the control room of the Boehmer spaceship, where had been 1,200 orbits ago. It was hard to stay optimistic and assume they were just one dilapidated room away from their grand prize. A tiny din, protected and preserved in some Boehmer supertech stasis chamber. Believing the age of this relic could be explained by the convoluted front lines across space, time, and realities. Trusting it somehow all made sense, and they just hadn't looked close enough. But ever since the strip beam fired once more, cutting through the hull with the same ease it could tear a continent off a planet, their group had to dig through the rubble of dead plant matter, which had invaded the interior through some hull leak long ago. This ship was so dead, even the local hyperflora had given up on it. The remnants had not lost their motivation, it seemed. They landed 3 more cores to assist with the slow dig, bringing cutting tools and oversized suction pumps, clearing the way, uncovering their equivalent of the well-edged gold rush. A bizarre array of small Boehmer items. Some looked artistic, ritualistic, all form, not function. Others had clear features of devices. Impossible to tell if they were mundane remote controls for the ceiling lights, or held technological secrets able to propel the people of the Akaupsa galaxy into a new age. Cha entered the control room. Shaji's. Linuka could tell he was tired and in pain. I can feel it. It's not here, she said. It's just some old shuttle of some unlucky Dark Ones who crashed here and turned into dust. Cha's helmet beam swiveled around as if looking for something to brighten Linuka's mood. We don't know yet, Shaji's. If this was an expedition, as we assume, maybe their onboard systems contain other candidate worlds to breed these din. Linuka's facial muscles tried to fake a smile, but let her down. Commander, you're supposed to be the skeptic. Please leave the unfounded optimism to me. Cha chuckled. Yes, Shaji's. I'm tired. Let's go back to the Hickshore and rest for a shift, said Linuka, and you should give that leg some rest. How do you know about my leg, Shadris? I noticed a slight limp. It hurts, doesn't it? It does, but my tolerance is high. I thought I hit it well. There's not much privacy in the dust bin, Commander. I guess not, said Cha. It was that cursed dust infecting the wound in the first place. She remembered his leg getting pierced during Skipper Unzu's crazy maneuvers. That had been 150 spins ago. Had the wound festered since? Boss, said one Marine, joining their helmet comm. He waved from the corridor leading to the control room. I brought the second wave, ready to help with the looting. The excavation. Get to work then. Yachts, Queso, report to the presumed control room. We're escorting the Shajis back to the freighter. The improvised living quarters the Marines called the dustbin appeared like a clean room compared to the abandoned Boehmer vessel. Unzu was still out there, toiling with the dark AI, securing his share of the spoils. After the decontamination procedure, Linuka debated if her own skin deserved the same pressure cleaning their spacesuits enjoyed before passing the airlock interior. Feeling clean and refreshed was appealing, but her bunk promised immediate relaxation. We need to talk about next steps, Shaji's. Zudshiv Commander, thought Linuka. No rest. Chadzini was right, though. Privates, go ahead, get civilized. Yachts and Queso left for the mobile shower units, the most prized equipment acquisitions right after the relief comps. Gives us a few passes to talk freely while the water is running. Shaji's, if you are right, and there's no din on board that shuttle, where does that leave us? Straight to the point, thought Linuka. Assuming the remnants are happy with their loot? I think they are, Shaji's. There was a lot of equipment left behind. Why is that, you think? Maybe the crew left in a hurry. So far, the remnant scanners did not detect any Darkwind's corpses, neither skeletons nor husks nor whatever they leave behind, nor decomposed body parts. Strange. Where would they have gone? These people had an enormous fleet before we blew it up. If this ship crashed indeed, others could have picked up the crew, either survivors or the dropouts. They're dead, thought Linuka. Like the Marines, Cha assumed the extragalactics would leave no one behind. You're probably right, Commander. I didn't answer your question, though. Where does all this leave us? It leaves us a vast intergalactic void away from our target, the last din. There could be other worlds in Cha Upsa. Swasni was adamant this being the only plausible location in our galaxy, and we trust her judgment? She is the foremost authority on Boehmer biology. She probably knows more about this din than it knows itself. Cha's face didn't give any clue to his thought process, but she could hear his poise draining out of his body. "Then we're finished," he said. "Best we can hope is not having to fight the remnants for returning us to assembly space, or wherever we need to go next." Linuka sat on the closest bunk. There was no next. Finding the last din was the mission. Only knowing the seedling's fate would ensure there was a next for everyone. "Makes me regret returning, Shajis." "What do you mean?" "Back when we got stranded in the Dark One's galaxy. Maybe we should have split up, letting your father and the others, important people, return. And we warriors should have stayed behind, searching Iakajaskem for survivors." "Commander, a few dozen, searching an unmapped galaxy? They wouldn't have made a difference." But she understood the sentiment, the nagging feeling of not having done enough, all too well. "I'm glad you returned." She meant it. "We returned," said Chatsini, "with a sphere drive array." Linuka jumped to her feet. "Of course, you returned using a Boehmer sphere drive. That drive system must still exist. Do you know where it is? You want to hunt that din down in its own galaxy?" "Yes. And we have a decent chance of finding it there. Swasni knows every last suitable world where the breeding couple could have hidden it. So, do you know the sphere drive's location or not?" "Shajis," said Chadsini, "we're not talking about some curious relic here, like the ones our eager friends are collecting in the wreckage. The sphere drive array is a cruiser-sized space-going apparatus able to create dark strings. Not use them, make them, between two galaxies." "He knows where it is," thought Linuka. "But I'm not going to like it. The array is kept at one of the Levy fleet rally points. At least a third of the galactic fleet is there at any time to guard it.